get off the Bucks. I really am trying to get off the Bucks.
Why? Because there's all ain't nothing else to talk about.
Well, actually, it was. I was trying to get to it. It actually is something else to talk about because we constantly compare players from different eras and then wonder why there's a huge debate. I heard, and TP was part of this argument. I heard a debate about LeBron's 3-point percentage versus Michael Jordan's 3-point percentage. And it just struck me as odd because there was a difference in coach. Well, I'm sorry. It struck me as odd because the play style was different then. Also, contracts and how you reward your teammates were different also. Because we know if Steve Kerr hit X amount of 3-pointers, he got a bump in his contract. We also know here now, if somebody is playing for the Lakers and need X amount of 3-pointers to get a bump in their contract, Russell Westbrook ain't gonna let them get that. If they need rebounds, Russell Westbrook ain't gonna let them get that. So it's different eras. And one of the things I found really striking is that nobody could tell me who Michael Jordan's first coach was. I can tell you Michael Jordan had to face Casey Jones in the first round of the playoffs when Larry Bird said he was God or Jesus in Nikes. I can tell you Casey Jones was his first coach he had to face in the playoffs. And that dude ain't seen nothing that ain't never been done before. So he literally let Mike score all them points. And nobody else gonna get nothing else. Now, granted, all the other players he had was a bunch of goons. He had no shooters. So we understand that. I don't think anybody would deny that Chuck Daly is a awesome super head coach. And Michael Jordan's first opportunity to go against the bad boys didn't go so well.
Yeah, mocked.
So we know coaching is a factor, whether we want to admit it or not. Now, when Michael Jordan got a coach and he got a running mate, because back then it was different. Like people forget Anthony Mason really was the first point forward that we actually called a point forward before Scottie Pippen came along. Anthony Mason was really the first point forward. So there was even at that time, there was a change in the small forward position because before it was Dr. J, get on the wing, dunk. Then it turned into get a small forward the ball, let him bring it up, kick it out to the shooters or get the slasher in the lane.
Right.
But again, it's just different. It's just a different era of basketball. And we constantly try to compare these dudes and we'll never come to a consistency on who is what and who is not.
No, I don't think you can unless they played against each other. Say this person is better than this one. So no.
You said they have to go in a direct one-on-one for you to say that one player is better than the other.
No, it's not fair. It's just not fair
to say who's the greatest player out of the two if they never saw each other on the court or play.
But then who is the greatest though?
I don't know. That's just like saying who's the tallest midget.
Does anybody even know where the GOAT conversation originally came from? It came from Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali stood up on national TV and said, I am the greatest of all time. Nobody had ever said that before.
No, but Muhammad Ali didn't think he was the greatest. He said Jack Johnson was the greatest.
I know that. But it was Muhammad Ali that sat up there and said, I'm the smartest, I'm the prettiest, I'm the greatest of all time. Even though he was saying Jack Johnson was the greatest, as bravado, he was saying that. So when we say this, we automatically need to accept that our arguments is based on how we feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
On a particular play, a particular era. I make no bones about it. I come from an era of sports where either you won or you lost. My favorite player is Alex English, but he ain't win shit. So I don't talk much about Alex English, but I can tell you on several occasions, he gave the Lakers buckets. He went into the
my favorite player, Tracy McGrady.
You know what I'm saying? So our allegiance to players often doesn't translate to errors. Like these young kids, I tell these kids all the time, do you think if Pistol Pete Maravich would have known that he was going to be looked at differently because he didn't take 3-point shots? Oh, wait, there wasn't a line in the NBA when Pistol Pete was playing. So, you see what I'm saying?
Pete was shooting from the logo.
Yeah. So, there is a whole different era. Like, what NBA basketball is now is what the ABA was in the inception.
But let's talk about players that would transcend eras. Will Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You put them in any era, they're going to be dominant. You can't coach 7-1. You know?
Shaq
would be dominant in any era. Michael Jordan athleticism would automatically make him a key factor in any era of basketball. LeBron James, Kevin Durant. These are players that we know today, but I feel like they would still be that same guy that they played back then.
Allen Iverson, Dr. J, Moses Malone. These are players that can play in any era. When we start talking about who's the greatest of all time, what all information are we taking into account? If we're talking about this is the greatest player who ever stepped on the basketball court in the ring.
And that's the talent. Exactly. And that's the difference in the air. Like I tell people all the time, errors make the argument for that individual. I come from an era, either you won or you lost. Like we done watch games. Well, dudes score 65 points and lose.
Yeah.
And absolutely lose.
Mike scored 50-some points and lost. Often.
That's a fact.
So it becomes, what is your definition? What is definitive for you? Like I'll tell anybody this. I absolutely hate the inception of analytics because it is pinheads like me that decided they wanted to inject themselves into the world of sports and be cool and came up with these numbers. And the numbers don't translate to the eye test.